Good day, everyone. Welcome to our forum on exploring effective assessment measurements beyond written tests. Okay, my name is Leo, and I'll be your moderator for today. I'm joined by an incredible panel of educators and education officers from several various interesting backgrounds. Okay, today the discussion will be centered around moving beyond traditional written exams to explore alternative methods that can better reflect students' competencies. Okay, we'll be diving into elements such as oral tests, observational assessments, practical applications, fieldwork projects and portfolios. Okay, and within the context of the current learning outcomes. All right. So without further ado, I would like to present our panelists. Okay, first up we have our teacher Fairoz. Okay, secondly, we have our lecturer from UC, which is Renault. All right, and then we have our general teacher, which is Nazira. Okay, apart from that, we have our State of Department of Education, which is Shirley. And last but not least, we have our Curriculum Division Officer, which is Gui. All right, so without further ado, let's get this forum started. All right, so the first question I would like to give to Fairoz. Okay, since she has some experience that understand dealing with oral tests, right? Okay, so in your opinion, what are the advantages and disadvantages or any challenges in conducting these oral tests? Any advantages that can help the students to learn better, or any barriers that will hinder the students' learning process? Yes.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, moderator. I appreciate the opportunity to contribute to this discourse on oral assessment as a powerful and dynamic alternative to traditional testing method, particularly in nurturing 21st century competencies such as communication, critical thinking, and adaptability. While written assessment have long served as the cornerstone of academic evaluation, they often fall short in capturing the immediacy and spontaneity of student thought. Oral assessment, by contrast, allows educators to engage with learners in real time, providing deeper insight into their comprehension, reasoning processes, and ability to articulate ideas with clarity and confidence. So, what are the advantages and challenges of conducting oral tests? Firstly, oral tests are an excellent way to assess real-time communication. Unlike written exam, oral assessment allows teachers to observe how students think and respond spontaneously. This is crucial in language subject where pronunciation, intonation, fluency, and grammar can be assessed more naturally through speech. For example, I often use individual speaking tasks in my English classes to assess students' ability to express opinions, narrate experiences, or describe visual stimuli. Other advantage is oral tests also help students build self-confidence. Okay, speaking in front of others, whether in a one-to-one setting or during group activities, improve their public speaking skills. Over time, students become more comfortable expressing themselves, which is a key life skill. In fact, I've seen quiet students begin to shine simply because they were given a chance to speak up in a supportive environment. Okay, another advantage is unlike memorized answers in written exam, oral assessment can prompt students to reason, explain, and defend their ideas. This encourages higher order thinking. For example, during project presentation or literature discussion, I may ask students to open-ended question to test how well they understand a concept, not just how well they can recall it. Finally, another advantage is that oral tests allow for immediate feedback. As teachers, we can correct pronunciation, guide students on sentence structure, or prompt further based on their answers on the spot. This type of dynamic interaction can't happen in a written test, and it helps students adjust and improve right away. So that one is the advantage. So we move to challenges. Okay, from a teacher's perspective, assessing spoken responses in real time requires strong listening and note-taking skills. Without audio recording or a second assessor, it's easy to miss key points or forget details when marking later. Okay, there are also logistical concerns. School may not always have the space, time slot, or personnel needed to conduct one-to-one oral exam, especially if multiple subjects use them. Okay, Another challenge is language barriers or different communication styles among students can also impact performance. Some students may have strong ideas but lack the language fluency to express them clearly, especially in second language contexts. Lastly, in a high-stakes testing environment, students may feel increased pressure, which can affect their ability to perform naturally and confidently. This emotional factor can be difficult to control or compensate for during grading. So that is the advantage and challenges if we apply oral test in our school. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Virus, thank you for sharing about that. But I would really love to know more on how can oral assessment be structured to effectively gauge student comprehensions and critical thinking skills. Thank you.
Sure. A well-designed oral test should include clear prompts such as criteria and specific learning outcomes aligned with curriculum standard. To guide both teaching and evaluation, few elements essential to assess, such as content accuracy, coherence of ideas, use of vocabulary, grammatical control, fluency, pronunciation, and overall delivery. These criteria help ensure that assessments are transparent and fair. Moreover, the format of the assessment should match the learning objective. For example, interviews are useful for assessing individual comprehension and reasoning, while presentation can evaluate organization, confidence, and audience awareness. Group discussion or debates can be effective for assessing collaboration, persuasive skills, and critical thinking. In addition, it is also important to scaffold the assessment process. I often provide students with sample questions or sentence starters in advance to build their confidence and prepare them for the kinds of responses expected. A structured peer feedback or rehearsal session can also support skill development. Okay, another effective strategy is to integrate visual or contextual prompts like pictures, video clips, or real-life scenarios. This approach supports students with different learning styles and help creates more engaging and meaningful assessment. So I think by applying all this, we can apply oral tests in our school more efficiently. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Virus, for sharing all those strategies that can effectively help students from an oral perspective to expand on their ability and effectiveness in assessments by the teachers, right? That's really interesting. All right. I think we will move on with observational assessment, okay, which will be shared by our state of department head, right? So a little bit on this, right? Observation assessment involves sight, right, to judge and assess a student's ability to test whether how well they are doing in a certain subject. Okay, so in that, okay, so Miss Shirley, what role does the observation play in assessing students' learning? Yeah.
All right. Okay, thank you, moderator. Okay, observation is an important component of formative and competency-based assessment. It allows education to capture the learning process in real time, not just the final product. In other words, it means that it's not just test what student knows, but that to test how they apply that knowledge in the authentic settings. Through observations, teachers can assess a student's skills, behavior, collaboration, creativity, and problem-solving abilities. These are aspects that are often not reflected in the traditional tests. In our commitment to humanistic education under the Malaysia Madani framework, observation helps teachers understand each student's unique progress, needs, and potential, especially for students in inclusive or practical learning settings. Through observation, teachers gain insight into few areas, which include cognitive development, like how students think, question, reasoning, affective growth, including motivation, emotional regulation and empathy, social interaction, including leadership, conflict resolution, and also the practical application. Additionally, Observation empowers teachers to respond to student needs immediately and compassionately, making the learning more personalized and equitable. It aligns with our ministry commitment to child-centered and inclusive pedagogy. Schools now use school-based assessment or PBS, which called Pentasiola Berasaskan Sekolah, to periodically evaluate students in both academic and extracurricular areas using PAJSK, which stands for Pentasiola Psychometric dan Pentasiola Activity Jasmani Sukan Co-curriculum. Students will be graded between a score range from of TP1 to TP6. The TP means tahap penguasaan, which means the mastery level. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the sharing, Shirley. So I want to ask about how can educators effectively observe and evaluate students' performance in various settings, such as laboratory workshop or field works?
All right. Okay. Effective observation must be intentional and well structured. So the education should identify the clear learning outcomes and also use the tools such as checklists to track all the observable action, performance rubrics to note the specific event or conversation, and also the anecdotal notes with the clear description at each proficiency level. Please allow me to share some examples. In the science lab, teacher always assess the students not only on their experiment result, but also on the process skills like forming hypotheses, handling equipment, teamwork, and troubleshooting. They use rubric aligned to KSS and STEM science standards to observe behaviors during the lab activities. Okay, next one, in a vocational workshop, teacher can access not just the final product like the model or the some part of the machine, but also how to assess how students interpret the diagrams, operate tools, and follow the safety protocols. In fieldwork, assessment could include a student's ethical conduct, observational skills, participation in data gathering, and also the reflection. We are supporting teachers through continuous professional development and updating curriculum guides to ensure practical assessments are meaningfully implemented. We are also training teachers under our Guru Inspirasi Madani program to incorporate such practice into daily teaching. That's all for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Shirley, for sharing about how important that we support our teachers through professional development programs that allow the update of these curriculum guides, right? So to ensure that they are successfully implemented in the education system, right? So all of this training under the Guru Inspirasi Madani program should really help all these kids to better perform from observational perspective, right? Don't you agree? Okay, so now let's talk about practical applications. What are practical applications? How these practical applications are so important in helping the development of academics, right? For the students, right? So, Miss Nazira, okay, can you give me some examples of practical assessments and like how and actually what are they assessing? Like what is the main point of all these assessments? Yeah.
Hi, thank you, moderator. Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Nazra Azwani and I specialize in teacher education. Thanks for inviting me, okay? So, in higher education, particularly in teacher training programs, the focus has gradually shifted from traditional assessments to practical competency-based evaluations. This change is crucial because teaching is not a theoretical profession, it's applied, human-centered and dynamic. Therefore, instead of relying solely on exams or essays, we incorporate practical application assessment that reflect what future educators will actually do in the field. Okay, so what is examples of practical assessment? Among the key assessment tools we use are micro teaching sessions, here, student teachers deliver short lessons to their peers or to real students. We assess elements like lesson structure and flow, instructional strategies, questioning techniques, and time management. And next, the real classroom observations. During their practicum, student teachers are placed in actual school environment. We observe how they manage student behavior, deliver instructions, adapt to different learning styles, and handle unexpected classroom challenges. Okay, so the third one is lesson planning and material design. So students submit and present lessons plans along with the teaching aids or use of ICT tools. So this allows us to evaluate their planning skills, creativity, and alignment with curriculum standard. Okay.
That's interesting.
Okay.
That's interesting what you just said just now. Students experience their future job early, where I believe they can perform well later. So I'm wondering, what are we really assessing during the practical applications?
Oh, okay. Thank you, Teacher Fairuz. It's a good question. So these methods assess for modern content knowledge. We are looking at their communication skills, preparation, and adaptability. These are real world skills, things that don't show up in a multiple choice test but make a world of difference in the classroom. Okay, so one of the best practices we use to ensure fair and consistent evaluation in the use of data rubrics. These rubrics break down the performance into specific components such as introduction and lesson objective, use of teaching aids, student engagement strategies, classroom control and transitions. The rubric not only guides the lecturer but also gives clear expectations to students and helps them understand where they need improvement. Okay, so after each practical sessions, we conduct feedback sessions, either one-on-one or in small groups, where we review what went well and what could be improved. Students are encouraged to write self-reflection logs to promote critical thinking and professional growth. In some cases, we use peer review sessions so they can also learn from one another. Okay, so why this matters? This practical assessment prepares students for what lies ahead, not just to pass a course, but to succeed in a real teaching career. So by experiencing lesson delivery, classroom engagement, and instructional design hands-on, they develop the confidence, resilience, and professionalism that will carry them through their careers. Okay, so practical application is no longer an option extra. It is central to center education. So as lecturer or teachers, we must ensure that our assessments prepare students not just to answer questions, but to become competent educators who can lead a classroom with impact and integrity. Is it clear? Thank you. That's all from me.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Miss Nazira. All right. So especially a part that the practical assessments, yeah, can help prepare students for their futures, right? And help teachers in real time to succeed in their teaching careers. I think that when they experience this style of delivery in the classroom, okay, these instructional designs, I think I do agree that they can help develop their confidence, resilience, and overall professionalism. All right, so thank you so much again, Ms. Nazira. All right, moving forward. Okay, let's talk about fieldwork, project, and portfolios. Okay, so now I would like to welcome Ms. Queen to answer some of my questions, right? Regarding so I was curious about the benefits of incorporating all these fieldworks, projects, and portfolios into the assessment process. Yeah. So and also, does engagement matter, or are there any better considerations for improved curriculum? What say you?
Thank you, moderator. Good day, everyone. So as we continue to refine our curriculum to better prepare the students for the demand of the modern world, I would love to open a discussion on the value of, just like a moderator said just now, field work, project-based learning, and portfolio assessment as a alternative to traditional assessment models. So from a curriculum officer standpoint, integrating these forms of assessment is aligned with our goals of developing well-rounded learners equipped with both theoretical knowledge and practical competencies. So what are the benefits? We talk about the benefits of incorporating these fieldwork projects and the portfolio. So first is authentic learning opportunities. This assessment situate learning in real life context, enhancing relevance and helping students to see the practical application of their classroom knowledge. For example, we take geography subject, student conducting local environmental frameworks such as water quality testing in a nearby stream allows them to apply data collection and analysis skills in a real context, making abstract content concrete. So the second one, the benefit of the second one is skill development. Beyond content mastery, students develop transferable skills, critical thinking, collaborations, communication, research, and self-management, which are crucial for lifelong learning and employability. So another one is deep and lasting learning. In here, students engage with content more deeply when they are tasked with applying into solving problems, analyzing data, or create a meaningful output. For instance, a science project requiring those students to design and test their own renewable energy models, such as mini wind turbines demanding a sustained engagement and problem solving, leading to stronger conceptual understanding. So another one is student-centered approach, in where portfolios and projects allow for differentiated learning pathways, giving student choices and agency over how they demonstrate the understanding. So another one is ongoing reflection and growth, in where portfolios in particular promote meta-cognition through regular reflection, helping students to track their own progress over time, such as a visual arts student maintain a year-long sketchbook portfolio that includes self-reflections on progress, peer critiques, and revisions. This is to encourage critical thinking and self-awareness. That's it. That's all from me.
All right. Does
Thank
anyone
you.
have any questions for Miss Queen?
Hello. Hi, Miss Queen.
Hi.
Hi, thank you for your sharing. I really learned a lot from you that this fieldwork project and the portfolios can be input into the assessment. Like, so maybe the student no need to 100% depend of the written essay already. So I have a question for you. How this
Yes.
assessment foster engagement, creativity, and the real world application? Thank you.
Thank you for the question, Miss Sally. Here, engagement means students more active participates in their learning when given authentic tasks. Real-world relevance sustains motivations and foster deeper inquiry. What I mean by here is when we see into a business studies core, students develop and pitch a mock startup idea to a panel of local entrepreneurs. The real world setting motivates the students and gives the authentic purpose to their work. So another one, we talk about creativity. So open-ended tasks invite diverse interpretations and innovative approaches, especially when the students are encouraged to personalize their work. Another one is real-world application. What is meant by real-world application is fieldwork and project bridge the gap between the academic theory and real-world practice. This is especially powerful in STEM, humanities, and vocational subjects where the real context enhancing the understanding.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Queen, for that sharing. Yeah. But I would like to know more. Can you are there any key considerations for these curriculum designs and evaluation. Can you share for me a little bit about this?
Yes, thank you for the questions. So the key considerations for curriculum design and evaluation, the first one is clear learning outcomes where the task must align with the curriculum objective and assessment standards. The rubrics, the marking rubrics should be transparent and criteria driven to ensure the consistency. So the second one is scaffolding and support. The students need structures, need structure, guidance, milestone, check-ins, and examples, especially for the long-term projects and the portfolio. So another one is equity and accessibility. This is to ensure all students have the access to the resources, to the environment, and to the support needed to complete their fieldwork or their tasks. So another one is time and resource allocation. So what mean by time and resource allocation is when this assessment demands more planning and time. So we must balance the expectation with the workload both for the students and the teachers itself. So we move on to the authenticity and relevance. To choose tasks that reflect the real world challenges or professional practice. So student engagement will improve here when they see the purpose in their work. So another one is integration with formative assessment. This is to encourage the ongoing feedback logos where the project and the portfolios should involve through peer and teachers' input, not just serve as a summative snapshots.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing for me all these key considerations. Now I know that
Thank you.
clear learning outcomes, scaffolding, all these accessibilities, time, right? Authenticity, and these integrations are all very important. Right. All right. So last but not least, let's move on to our final part for the day. Okay. So Mr. Reno, okay, so I would like to ask you about all these best practices and implementation in terms of any strategies that educators can use to integrate diverse assessment methods into their teaching practice, and like are there any tailoring or niche things that need to be done so that these individual learners are able to promote inclusivity along the way of their learning? Yes.
Okay, thank you for the question. Firstly, as a lecturer training a future educator, we UPSI carry a responsibility not only teaching content, but also modeling practices in assessment. In today's diverse and dynamic classroom, uh, one size fits all approach is no longer suffice. So here are some strategy that we have found or we are guiding our training teacher to integrate in varied assessment method, which is the first one is to balance out the formative and summative approaches. We encourage our student or the future teacher to use formative assessment, just like quizzes, reflection, and peer review to track progress alongside summative assessment, such as final project or exam to evaluate the overall understanding. So to find the balance is we use that and insert that in the curriculum or in their marking so they can use both of the formative and summative approaches in a good manner. Next is differentiate based on learner need. In our methodology courses in UPSI, we stress the importance of assessment differentiation, especially for mixed ability or inclusive classroom. Diagnostic assessment and scaffolding tasks help support the student at their own pace. Next, to promote reflection on assessment, where we push our trainer or the teacher to reflect whether is this method fair, is it accessible, depend on the area, or whether it is culturally sensitive. Regular reflection ensure that they don't just assess, but that they assess meaningfully. So in UPSI, we believe that assessment should be informed instruction, not only just for record performance. By equipping our future teacher with this strategy, we hope to nurture professionals who can adapt and respond to evolving need in Malaysian classroom. So next is we can see there are a few ways to guide trainee teacher to tailor assessment to inclusivity. So the first one is the differentiate assessment task. You can say that not every student will respond to a well-written test. Some may prefer oral presentation, visual project, or hands-on demonstration. By offering multiple ways to demonstrate understanding, we respect diverse strengths and reduce to barrier success. Next is the use of tied assignment. This involves giving tasks at varying level of complexity depend on the student deadliness. All students work towards the same learning goal, but to support or challenge appropriate to their level, it is a practical way to promote equality without compromising expectation. Next, feedback, not just grade. With personalized, informative feedback can be more powerful than mark alone. It helps students know where they are, what's they expected, and how to improve. Something like benefit to all learners, but especially to those who feel left behind in a traditional system. Ultimately, inclusivity in assessment requires intentionality and empathy. It is not about removing obstacles and creating opportunities for every student to shine, regardless to their background and ability. Okay.
All right. So, thank you so much, Reno, for sharing all about of course, the assessment. It really requires a certain depth of empathy, right? And removing challenges or creating opportunities so that students can shine. Okay, so follow up the question, right? So, can you tell me some examples of successful implementation of strategies or any alternative assessment methods that can be used in all types of educational settings?
Okay, great question. Thank you for the moderator. Alternative assessment is no longer just a trend, but a necessity in creating a meaningful, learner-centered education. At UPSI, we expose our student teacher to a very of real-world example where this method has been successfully implemented both in Malaysia and globally also. So there are a few noteworthy one example. First is the project-based learning, which is PBL in secondary classroom. So in several rural and urban sekolah menengah kebangsaan, we have seen English and science subject teacher use the project-based learning effectively. For example, we can see that in Form 3 student, they are tasked to create an eco-friendly prototype of presenting their project in Bahasa English. Assessment focused on content and knowledge, communication skill, creativity, and teamwork, which is not only solely they are graded or seen for just their exam answer. So we can see their impact here. The students show a higher engagement, especially for those who usually underperform in standard written tests. It also improved their soft skill like collaboration and problem solving. Next example that we can see is the e-portfolio in teacher education at UPSI. Implemented digital portfolio in our teaching practicum courses. Trainer teacher document their lesson plan, classroom reflection, photo of the student activity and self-assessment over time using the e-portfolio. So the impact of this e-portfolio that we have done is it helped assess and growth development of our trainer teacher. Not only they are not only focused on just to for the final outcome. It also encourage them for reflective practices, which is a core element in the effective teaching. Next is we can see, for example, is peer and self-assessment in cooperative learning setting. In a group-based subject like pendidikan civic or sejarah, teachers use peer review and self-assessment rubric during the group project. students assess their own contribution and those of their teammates. So the impact here you can see is they build accountability and teach students how to give and receive constructive feedback, of where this skill is often overlooked in traditional assessment. So what we have learned from this example is the alternative assessment, when well designed and aligned with the learning outcome, it can enhance both academic and holistic development. They can particularly powerful for learners who may struggle with standardized exam, but excel in creative and collaborative environment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Rena, for that sharing. Right. Okay. So I think that it's time we wrap it up. All right. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to all our panelists for the thoughtful and inspiring contributions today. Okay. So today our discussion highlights the importance of using a diverse assessment strategies such as oral tests, observational assessment, practicals, projects, and portfolios to ensure that we can capture the full spectrum, right, of student learning, right? As I believe when education evolves, it is important and very essential that our assessment evolves along the way, ensuring that they align with real-time student needs, technological advancements, and inclusive practices, right? So thank you as well for the audience for joining us. We hope that this conversation has sparked new ideas and approaches in your own teaching techniques and practices. All right. So until next time, take care and continue innovating in your classroom. All right. Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.